welcome to Detroit in Black and White, our Wednesday edition. I'm Adolph Mongo. Good evening, Jim Nardone, former police chief at Trenton, and director of public safety. Am I correct?
Yes, Director of Policing and Fire Services.
Okay, we hearing an echo from you, Jim.
Dr. Oz.
Allan.
No, I'm again.
Hello. Do this mean I'm gonna do this show by myself?
Well, I'm gonna go out. I'll come back in. Let me see. I'm gonna come back in.
Okay. Say something, Jim.
I want to say hello to Kenneth Deborah Harris. Good evening to both of you.
We at you or echo. Okay.
Testing. Okay.
Good evening, Kenneth. Okay. Well, we're having a little technical issue.
I'll pop out one more time. We're going to be right back. We're trying to resolve this issue. I don't know what. All right, Adolph. All right, Jim, speak.
Hello.
Hello. Testing.
Still got an echo.
All right, let's all go out, and we're going to come back. We're going to be right back in a minute. We apologize for this, but.
Okay, I'm on by myself. We having a little technical issue, but good evening, Kenneth Reed, 7913, the Weller Boys. Good evening, all. Is it possible that Lindsay and Mitch are hitting the algorithm again? I saw a little bit of the funeral of Lindsey Graham. And, you know, politicians are fucking hypocrites. There was Democrats eulogizing a late senator, and I'm like, ain't no way in the world I would have went to his funeral. You know, I guess I was raised to say if you don't have anything good to say about the dead, don't say anything. And I'm not gonna be a hypocrite and say I'm feeling sad, but you know that's me.
Yeah.
Good evening, all. Janet, go ahead.
No, I agree. Are we hearing me?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Okay, I watched some of that, but I agree with you. I mean, Lindsey Graham, they talked about what a great guy he is, but and he may have been a great guy, but
he was a piece of shit.
He was spineless. He was hypocritical. So many things he did. He was just, he was a disgrace, really. I think.
Yeah. But
yeah. I don't know what's going on here. All right. Here, let me put you on mute a second. All right. Everything okay. I'm going to put you on mute. All right. Anyways, I'm going to say something, then I'm going to unmute, then I'll unmute you. But anyways, yeah, I mean, Lindsey Graham, I mean, is a nice guy, very smart guy. I mean, in some points he was admirable, but other times he was just hypocritical. He just couldn't be honest. And I just thought, and now his sister is being deemed, given the crown to take over. And yeah, she loves her brother, great, but as a senator, I think he was pretty spineless. So, but anyways, Jim.
I want to say hello to all our friends out there. Jan Salak, good evening to you. Is it possible that Lindsay and Mitch are hitting the algorithm again? Somebody's hitting the algorithm, Kenneth. Don't know.
Well.
Hello to Dwayla Boyce. Good evening to you. Good to see you. Deborah Harris, our good friend. All good friends out there tonight. Thank you all for joining us. I think we may have got through it. Adolph, speak to us.
Well, I'm I'm a log out. I'm a log out.
Well, Adolph's logging out and coming back. G Money Hollywood. Good evening to you. Greetings to you. We're glad that you're with us tonight. What's going on, Tamari Kemet? Good evening to Tamari. Miss Sheila. Hello, Miss Sheila. How's it sounding, Alan?
I'm sorry. Okay. I'm wondering maybe if we, if you have headphones, I don't know if that'll make any difference or not. But you have headphones, Adolf? All right. Go ahead, Joe. We apologize for this.
So
It
I believe
happened.
we're
I'm
supposed to have
sure that.
a guest tonight, Ashley Munger, who is from the Neighborhood Defender Service, public defender.
Uh-huh.
A group that started in Harlem in 1990, has a holistic model to address problems plaguing public defense. Started in Harlem. They now have an office in Wayne County and also an office in San Antonio, Texas. They're a 501c3.
Mm-hmm. Right. And so they're basically, they went on strike Friday. There are 90 people in the office here in Detroit. I think altogether they're all on strike in Harlem and down in Texas. They're all on strike. The key issues are they've come to a sort of a tentative agreement on the on wages, but they're now being there's debate over copay, and they were saying, look, it's not the greatest pay, but the benefits were always good. And one of the benefits were, I think, was basically free health care with no copay. So now they want them to do copays where I think some family might pay $12,000 a year. So if you're getting a raise, which is negligible, and then they raise your copay, it's really, you're getting a pay cut. So they went out on strike on Friday, and I guess they've been picketing in front of 36 district courts over in Wayne County Circuit. They are a nonprofit. They contract with Wayne County, and they provide, I think, 50% of the defense cases for people who can't afford their own attorneys. And so, you know, look, they're not making a shitload of money, and so I always think they have a legitimate gripe there, and so they have and it's weird because they're managed by nonprofit, and so
So who exactly is on strike, Alan?
so um yeah, I don't know what's going on, man. So go ahead.
My question was, who exactly is on strike right now?
Well, it's the group of people there. They're lawyers, they're investigators, they're paralegals, and I believe secretaries are on strike. There's about 90 of them from this neighborhood public defender's office. They're on strike right now. Some of the managers are taking over the cases, and in other cases, they are doing. Stephanie says we have copays. It contributes to premiums, I believe. I don't know. Maybe I didn't understand, but I thought that they were not getting copays. Or if Stephanie's saying she does, I mean, a lot of places have copay. I mean, when I was at the Washington Post, I think it was probably a $200 a month copay. Uh, so it's not unusual to have copay, but I think what they were saying is that because their salaries aren't that great, they're decent, but they're not great, that the benefits were another appeal to working there. And I'm not sure if Stephanie Jackson is referring to this organization or just that she's saying that we have copays. So, or unless she works for them. So I don't know. But Stephanie, if you want to clarify. But anyways, go ahead, Jim.
So you're right. So if you have a prescription, you have a copay, $10, $15, a doctor visit, 20, 30, 40 to $50 for a visit, right? I think that's what Stephanie's talking about.
Yeah. So anyway, so they're on strike. Hopefully they won't be on strike for very long. I hate to see. I mean, I was on strike for 19 months at the Detroit News, and it's, it's a struggle, but I mean, eventually, you know, a lot of us were on strike for a long time. We got a bunch of different jobs. I bartended at Honest John's across from Belle Isle. I worked a couple days a week for the Michigan Employment Security Commission. I freelanced for the New York Times and Bloomberg News. So I made it work. Some people crossed the picket line. We had in our union, which was the Detroit Newspaper Guild, we had half. Uh, you know, okay, Stephanie says, I work at NDS. She's on strike. Okay. So maybe Stephanie can clarify uh, more what it's about. It says the union's core demands are a 3% annual wage increase and the retention of the cost-free health insurance as opposed to the 1% raise and modified benefits employers offering. Okay, so there's different, but I
Well,
think
I'm
correct.
okay.
There's no health insurance. I mean, there's no health. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, no, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't echoing in the cave.
Okay. So far,
Yeah. So good.
Yeah,
Go
you
ahead.
sound good, Adolph. I do not sound so well.
No. I think it's me. I'm going out. Y'all continue your
No,
conversation.
No, I was doing it before you came back.
Okay. Something is happening.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, now you're really making some loud noises. All right. So, anyways, I've muted you right for the moment, Adolph. But, anyways, we apologize for this. We had it last week as well, and we've got it. May be the platform. That's all I can think of because it's happening. Unless we've got it. I was checking with the settings previously, but anyways, we had the this week we had the Haley Stevens Abdul El Said debate. I don't know how many of you watched the debate. I thought it was interesting. I did an analysis of the debate, and it's my analysis. People can have differences of opinion, but what I thought was that what I said, there were no knockout punches, and there were no embarrassing moments that were going to become viral on there, and I think in terms of expectations, I think Abdul El Said is very slick, very articulate, a smooth talker. Haley Stevens, not as much, which I think people don't have expectations. It's like when George Bush debated Al Gore. Uh, Al Gore was a lot more articulate, but people had sort of lower expectations for George Bush, and I think so. In the end, I don't know that it made a big difference. I thought what was interesting today is that the Michigan Chronicle has endorsed Haley Stevens, and she has been trying to say that she is more aligned with the black voter than Abdul El Said, and I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what she's trying to say. And the Michigan Chronicle basically uh, backed her. Here's somebody says Haley crashed and burned. You know what? I think what we see is that the Abdul El Said people say that, uh, and they're like, she did horrible. And then I think the Haley Stevens people said she did fine, uh, and she didn't lose any ground. But I think part of it depends on who you're rooting for. I mean, if you really hate somebody, it's a lot easier to say they lost. But I don't know. Jim,
I
did you
think
get a
most people have
chance?
made up their mind on who they're supporting for the seat, and for whatever reason. So
Right.
I think that mine's already made up. The election people have already been voting. There's already been in-person voting. Black voters are progressive to Mary Kemet. That's interesting to Mary. Um, Also, better provisions to prevent increased workloads and to ensure adequate staffing and resources. That's the why and NDS is on strike, according to Janet. Thank you. I don't know if she crashed and burned. I didn't see the debate. I'm not really interested in the debate. We don't, Tamari, thank you for your comment about the echo. I think I'm okay now. I'm not sure exactly
Yeah,
what was going on.
I think you're okay, and I'm okay. Well, now we hope we can get Adolph back in here. Someone asked where we can watch the debate. You can watch it on YouTube. You can just type in Fox 2 debate, Haley Stevens, Abdul El Sayed, and you can watch the whole thing. I think you can also, I posted it on Deadline Detroit. If you go to the story where I did an analysis, I put the debate on the bottom of the story, and so you can watch it there. But you can also just go on YouTube and find, and you can watch the whole debate. You can make up your mind who did better. The thing afterwards, to be honest, the thing that really kind of bothered me is that I realized neither one of them, they talk a lot of talking points, but neither one of them really have specifics. Like Abdul El Sayed says Medicare for all, which I think is great. Everybody should be covered, but how are you going to do that? There's finances involved. How do you get, and there's finances, not only the finances, but the impediments, the political impediments. So how do you get that through? Uh, Haley Stevens talked about the Middle East and saying that she's in favor of a two-state solution with Israel coexisting with the Palestinians having their own state. Uh, how do you suggest going about that, particularly with the mess that's going on right now? So I see a lot of talking points, and El Sayed's made his point that Haley Stevens is getting a lot of money from different interest groups, different corporations, from APAC. But at some point, okay, let's get by that. Let's get past that. Let's talk about the issues. Let's talk about how you're going to get those things that you're talking about through. How are you going to get Medicare for all through? And so, uh, you know, so we do have our guests. Hopefully, we won't be getting too crazy of echoes there. Uh, all right, we've got Ashley Munger here. Let's see, Ashley, we're having a little technical difficulties tonight with echoing, but
No problem.
so welcome. So tell us a little bit about, you're a lawyer, you're on strike. Tell us about your strike. Tell us about the issues. We have somebody, Miss Sheila, who says she works with your organization. So tell us what the issues are. You and I spoke earlier today.
We did, yeah. So I'm a staff attorney in the criminal practice at NDS Detroit. NDS takes 50% of the public defense cases in Wayne County. It's a 501c3 nonprofit. We have a contract with Wayne County to be their public defender offices. The other half go to a roster of private attorneys. We are the public defender office. We're on strike now. We initiated the strike against NDS management on Friday. So we just wrapped up day 4 on the picket line. The issues that we have are over healthcare and COLA. So this is a very defensive contract campaign. Like I told you earlier, Allan, we're just trying to maintain what we have. We have this benefit in our current contract, or our contract that expired last month, rather, where we had cost-free health insurance. What we're fighting for is no rollbacks to that status quo of cost-free health insurance. We're also fighting for a COLA, a year-to-year COLA that maintains pace with the rising cost of living. Right now, management is offering us 1%, which is an effective pay decrease given that inflation is through the roof year after year. So the union has made massive movement in other areas of the contract to hold out for those two big issues.
Okay. Whoops, excuse me. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Is there any movement in the negotiations, or are you really at a hard impasse? Where would you say you're at right now? You're on strike as of last Friday. You've been on strike. Are you carrying picket signs out there?
We're carrying picket signs. Yeah, we have. We're lucky enough to be organized under the UAW with Local 2325. So we have the full backing of the UAW behind us, which has been a huge help. We had Sean Shane out at the picket line yesterday. We had a lot of elected officials and other locals coming out to support. It's been really high energy and great at the picket line. At the bargaining table, there is some conversation being had. We're still far apart in the sense with management, in the sense that they are hell-bent on imposing healthcare costs on us, and we are saying that our members are telling us they are hell-bent on maintaining the status quo.
Okay.
So
Am I
we're trying to
correct
find
that-
solutions that are creative,
Uh-huh.
and we're meeting every day at the table. We were at the table up until just about 20 minutes ago,
Right.
and we're meeting again tomorrow to see what we can achieve.
Okay. And am I correct to say that the that you are not paying a copay on health insurance at the moment? Is that correct?
We don't pay a premium. We do pay a copay when we go to the doctor, but we don't pay a monthly premium, and there's no
You don't pay a
deduction.
monthly premium, right? So you're not paying like every month. You're not paying $200 toward your insurance payment. But when you go to the doctor, you're doing a copay, but you're not paying a monthly copay to the company that is providing you. Am I correct there?
Correct. Yes,
Correct.
that's right. Yes,
that's right. Oh, okay. And then you're part of an organization. You're part of an organization also is offices in Harlem and also in Texas, correct? So you have, is it 90 or about 90 people that are lawyers, investigators, paralegals, secretaries? Is that a good?
Yep, that's right. So NDS Detroit has about 90 members. There are 230 members total in NDS. So NDS, again, a 501c3 nonprofit. They have contracts with 3 municipalities to be their public service provider. They're part of a network of public service providers in New York. They represent people in Harlem and the Bronx. They have the contract in Detroit, and then they have a third contract in Hayes County, Texas. So all in all, there's 230 members, 90 are in Detroit.
Okay. And did you say Case County? C-A-S-E?
Hayes County.
Okay, Hayes County. Okay. And so at this point, you were saying there are some management who are taking over some of the cases that you guys had, or they're asking for an adjournments on some of the cases to keep things going as best they can. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. We have about 55 attorneys at NDS Detroit who are out on the line with us.
Mhm.
So with the 15 or so attorney supervisors that there are, they will never be able to do what we do in a day, because we are the beating heart of those courtrooms. We know our clients, we know our cases. We can do the best job for them. That's why at the end of the day, we need a fair contract so we can get back in there and represent our clients in the way that we know how. But we did prepare heavily for this strike. We wrote case strike memoranda for all of our existing clients and passed them on to our supervisors with explicit instructions on what to do on each of our cases, so that we still had our clients' backs even when we weren't there.
Okay. And is there anything the public can do to support you or show support? What are some of the things they can do or can they not do?
Yeah, so members of the public, we would love if you would stop by the picket line. We'll be at the Criminal Justice Center tomorrow and Friday, 5301 Russell Street, Third Judicial Circuit Court. And we're also asking people to call Warren Evans' office and ask him to sit down with NDS management and figure out how to finagle their budget to meet our demands, because we know the money is there. NDS just won't spend it on us.
And does Warren Evans actually have control over this? What's the county's role in relation? You're a nonprofit, that contracts with the county. What can the county do to pressure the management at your organization?
So the county has pressure points both up and down. So there's a statewide organization, the Michigan Incident Defense Commission, which gets a pool of money every year from the state. It's a legislative part of the executive budget for indigent defense across the state. They apportion a certain amount of funds to Wayne County, who then apportions it to NDS and the roster of private attorneys. So county officials have levers both up to the MIDC and down to NDS management. They're kind of the middleman until the peak.
All right. And so there are social workers too that work on staff. Is that
Yes.
correct? Yes. So you have social workers, lawyers, paralegals, investigators, secretaries. Anyone else we're leaving out?
There's team administrators and client advocates. We have a staff of client advocates who work with the social workers. Some of them have massive social work, some don't, but they do incredible work like conducting jail visits, coordinating housing and benefits assistance. They do a lot of social work tasks. So they're part of our team.
Okay. All right. So do you have any negotiations planned, any bargaining sessions planned coming up?
Yes. So we left the table 20 minutes ago. We passed proposals back and forth today. Management knows exactly what it will take to end this. And so the ball's ultimately in their court. We have made ourselves incredibly available to management. 7 days a week, really around the clock. We do expect that we will meet with them tomorrow. We just don't know what time because we haven't heard from them.
Okay, great. Jim, are you have any questions? Or we've had Jim on mute because of the echoing issues, but let's see if we can unmute him. Jim, you have any questions? Or?
Yes. If you could just explain to the people what NDS is, because we had a couple questions about what your organization does. I think you probably explained exactly what you do, but I don't think people understand the connection and how NDS ended up in Detroit and Harlem. If you just give the people a little history about how your company evolved.
Yeah, so NDS is a 501c3 that provides public defense services. So we are the public defender office in Wayne County. A few years back, there was a report done to show that across the state of Michigan, and particularly in Wayne County, jurisdictions were failing to meet constitutional requirements for effective assistance of counsel across the board. Public defenders are guaranteed in the U.S. Constitution, and there are certain qualities of representation that need to be met in order to satisfy those constitutional requirements. NDS came in to help mitigate some of the problems with indigent defense that were going on in Wayne County. NDS has existed since the early 90s, providing public defense services in Harlem. The Detroit and the Texas offices are newer. But what we do on a day-to-day basis is we're public defenders. We represent people who are charged with felonies in Wayne County. So primarily Detroit, but we also go to downriver places like Taylor, Romulus, Westland. We go to Plymouth, Wayne, Woodhaven, Wyandotte. We're all over Wayne County. If you're charged with a felony, starting with low-level felonies like possession of controlled substances, carrying a concealed weapon, some types of assault, all the way up to premeditated first-degree murder. And you can't afford an attorney, 1 out of 2 times, you're going to get NDS. And when you get NDS, you get a team of people. So I would be on your team. I'm a staff attorney. In addition to me, you get an investigator, a social worker, a paralegal, all people who represent you holistically and work really hard on your case. We win trials day in and day out. People at NDS are incredibly talented, passionate advocates, and we love the work that we do. That's why we're fighting so hard to be able to stay in it.
All right. Whoops. Let me make sure. Hold on. I'm sorry. Okay. And you're on the bargaining committee.
Yes.
Yes. And you're also are you on the executive board of the union?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Right.
So we're the UAW Local 2325. It has multiple public defenders offices in it. So it has NDS, all 3 offices in NDS. There's the Brooklyn Defender Service, the Bronx Defender Service, a number of other offices, public defense offices that are in this amalgamated local together.
All
right.
Hopefully you guys will get back to work soon and you'll somewhat reach a compromise. I know you never get everything you want, but hopefully you get some of what you want.
Exactly.
So, okay, well, thanks again for and good luck. We're rooting
Yeah,
for
thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
create a great service. So, thank you so much. So, all right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Take care, guys.
Yep. Thanks a lot. Take care. All right, Jim. We're going to try to see if we got. You know what? We need to take a break. We haven't taken any commercials yet. So, Teresa, if we can let them roll.
Midterm elections influence our schools, public safety, housing, and other services families rely on every day, and that includes gas prices. While presidential elections get more attention, many decisions that affect daily life are made by leaders elected in the midterms. Your vote is your voice. Voting helps ensure community concerns are heard. It holds leaders accountable and supports positive change. Make a plan to vote and encourage family, friends, and neighbors to do the same. Our community is strongest when every voice is heard. For more information on how and when to vote, call 313-876-0190 or go to detroitmi.gov/elections. When we vote, we don't just choose leaders, we choose the future of our community. Vote.
Hi, I'm Eric Sabri, your Wayne County Treasurer. Are you living in the home of a deceased family member and you're facing property tax foreclosure, or maybe you know someone who's in the same situation? The probate process may be helpful to you. If you file a probate petition and notify our office, the foreclosure proceedings will be halted during the probate process. We have several nonprofit partners who have free attorneys who can assist you. Contact our office, 313-224-5990, or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com. Don't lose your family property. Some of these properties have been in the family for 4 or 5 generations. Contact us now. We're here to help.
Okay, we are back. We're here with today. We're experiencing a little bit of technical difficulties. We had Adolph on, but he kept echoing, and so I don't know if he'll make one more attempt, jump back in. We've also got Jim Nardone, the former police chief in Trenton, which I have been threatening to come visit Trenton one of these days. Jim, you want to try and unmute? Teresa, you want to try and unmute him and see if he's ready? Go ahead.
Well, hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
All right, so far.
Can I talk to our friends for just a second? Everybody, good evening. If we didn't talk to you, Kenneth Reed said Lindsey Graham has no redeemable. There's nothing redeemable. Kenneth Reed says nothing redeemable about him. Excuse me, Kenneth. Janet Overall shared. Edward All, good evening to you. There's nothing admirable about a liar and a facilitator of genocide. Goodbye and good riddance. Lindsey Graham to Mary Kemet. We have co-pays. We talked a little bit about that. I guess it sounds like the Senate race is up to the Senate race for the Democratic seat has heated up and it's become a full-fledged war. G Money Hollywood. This race will be tight, and it comes down to who's able to get more kibbles and bits in the end. I think that's a good point, G Money. I guess my question, I think it was to Mary. Thank you, Stephanie Jackson, for your help on the NDS issue. We appreciate it. I think it was to Mary that said Medicare for all, and on the show a couple of days ago we talked a little bit about that. What would that look like? Because this is how Medicare works today, right? Everybody from the day they first, whether they work in a drugstore or in a grocery store, that starts paying into Social Security, they start paying into Medicare, and they pay for it until they turn, typically, there's exceptions, 65. So would that be eliminated? Would there be no charges? I just don't understand how it looks. It's just my question. It's a great idea, and it's go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think there would be probably what we do today. If you're on Medicare, you end up paying some kind of copay to have it. If Medicare is like you might pay 160 or you might pay 300 a month, but the coverage is fantastic. You get a surgery and you might pay nothing, uh, but you're paying, paying monthly for it. But the problem is, uh, it's expensive to, now it's just for a very select part of the society, for 65 and over. We have everybody. I think it's a great concept, but when you talk about it, you need to have some method to get there, and I don't hear anything. And I'm not saying, and I'm not just criticizing El Sayed, because all the candidates have all these great ideas and all these sound bites of I'm going to do this and that, but they don't really talk about how do you get there, because Medicare, look, Obamacare was watered down in the end because there was so much pushback to it, but he got it through. But it still was left with some flaws, particularly for the middle class. I think the middle class were really hurt the most from Obamacare, is that they were still paying too much. But so I don't
And
know.
when you say Obamacare, you say that in a positive, lovingly way. I guess I'll put it. It's the Affordable Care Act. I think people, when they say Obamacare, they use it to disparage the legislation very often. And I think,
I'm not. I don't say that disparagingly.
no, I know you don't. That's why I
I
brought that up.
yeah, I think Obamacare, or affordable health care. I think the concept is great. It still needs some tweaking, and instead, Trump has always promised, I'm going to give you something better, but he's never delivered on it. He's never come up with an idea. So it's like, look, if you got something better, who cares what it's called? Give the American people something better. But if you don't have something better, but you just want to get rid of it because you don't like that it's Obama's idea, it's you're screwing people just out of your ego. I
And,
think that
and there's it brings up questions though. The Affordable Care Act is, thank you, Kenneth. Kenneth said the single payer option is what the late Congressman John Conyers favored. So when you talk about that, that means that there's a cost involved. I also agree that the single payer system may be the best way to go, but it's not free, right? They don't give you, they don't, they'll give you a card when you're coming out in the hospital, when you're with your when you're being born, and it stays with you till you die. There are attachments to every kind. Every benefit has some kind of responsibility for the recipient, and I think
right.
when we say Medicare for all, I'm just not sure we understand exactly what that means. Can I read a couple comments, Alan?
Yeah, go for it.
Deborah Harris said everybody had insurance with Obamacare, just need fixing. A lot of people benefited from the ACA. Janet overall. Thank you, Janet. I agree. Health insurance was affordable for my family and friends. This is the richest country in the world. Exactly right, Tamari. There's ways to do this, right? But it's not free. Um, Subsidies, right? If you meet a certain financial criteria, that today it's that way, right? There's something called IRMA. I'm not that familiar with IRMA, but it's for Medicare. If you are a higher wage earner, you pay more for Medicare. So is that the way
Yeah.
they should do it? But that's not free, is what I'm getting at.
All these socialist programs in Canada, Europe, and some in the Middle East, or whatever, people are paying taxes. You pay for it one way or another, but it's not. But also, the medical system in a lot of these places, doctors go in to the field because they want to heal people, because they think it's a higher calling. But here in the U.S., you have some of that, but you also have doctors who are making shitloads of money, and you can't pay those kind of salaries in more of the socialized medicine places. There are certainly doctors everywhere. I think even in Canada, who don't take insurance, and people who are wealthy can go to them. They don't have to participate in it, but all in all, everybody should be entitled to be able to take their medications. They should be able to go if you're having some ailment, if you feel like, you see something on your skin that you think might be cancerous, you should be able to go. If you have a dental issue, if you have a toothache, if you need your tooth pulled, if you need dentures or whatever. I mean, that's the other issue, is the dental is just so crazy expensive. Uh, and dental insurance is so poor. And it's part of the healthcare system that we don't really talk a lot about, but I don't know.
It says a lot about our culture, how we take care of our young people and how we take care of our older people,
Our
our
older people
elderly
as well.
people. And it's tragic when somebody passes because they didn't seek medical care because they feared they couldn't pay the cost. That's unconscionable.
Well, we see a lot of the elderly people. I mean, this has been going on forever. Newspapers used to expose some of the nursing homes where the elderly were, where the insurance was paying, uh, but it's just, the insurance. A lot of times, the options right now is that you go to a nice nursing facility and you pay personally a lot of money, or you go to another facility where the care is not very good and your insurance covers it. And that is happens a lot. Instead, you go to certain countries where the elderly are taken care of. They're made sure that they live in dignity. Uh, Here, there's a lot of people who don't live in dignity, who don't have the money. So sad.
I'm going to butcher it, but I'm going to, K. Haldoon Bay 3968. Sorry if I got your name wrong. Nothing's free, but reducing the burden I agree with you 100%. That is exactly the point. Make the billionaires pay for it. Well, I get it. Where do you draw the line? I mean, sure, I don't want to get into the taxation system. I get your point, but I mean, we've vilified people that have money. Some of the people that are running for office, are talking disparagingly about people that have a lot of money, and maybe some of them had it given to them, but a lot of them earned it. So where do we draw the line? Where do we go, Tamari? That's a question I have for you. When do we decide how much money is enough for anybody to have? Is it $1 million? Is it 500,000? Is it 100,000? Is it 10 million? Is it $1 billion? I mean, I don't know where we draw the line.
Yeah, I don't, I think Haley Stevens has tried to make an issue of how much money El Said has or whatever. It's like, who cares if he's worth $2 million? Really today, $2 million isn't like, you're not a billionaire. You've got, I mean, look, the guy's a doctor. His wife is a psychiatrist. You figure between the two of them, they're going to have a decent income. Apparently, her father is also a doctor. They have some money. She owns some properties. Uh, it shouldn't disqualify you for caring about other people. I mean, we saw really growing up the Kennedy family, which was really a wealthy family, but they were into public service. They're, all the three brothers were all into public service there. So I don't know that it's a big issue. I'm sick of the ads. I mean, we're being bombarded with ads of this side attacking that side. We're seeing Sri Thanadar and Donovan McKinney. They're going at it. And after a while, you don't even know what's true. You can't even figure out what, says Donovan McKinney voted against this and that. And they're like going, that doesn't make sense. He's campaigning with, all these very progressive liberals, and yet he's voting for raises, minimum wage, and stuff like that. It doesn't make sense, which makes me wonder what's the truth there. And I think some publications try to do fact checking, but I don't know. It's confusing, and I think everyone at this point, if you watch TV at all, you've got to be sick of all the ads that we're seeing. It's just it's too much. And somebody mentions the mail. I know in my apartment building, there's a trash retainer container right next to the mailboxes, and it's just filled with flyers. People get their mail and dump all their flyers in there, and all the candidates are, you know I mean, you might want to look at one or two sometimes if you don't know who the candidate is. But I think, do you read the flyers that you get? You must get some.
I haven't got a lot actually.
Have not.
Um, Miss Sheila's talking about the mail. The billionaire and trillionaire should pay the same tax. I think we have one trillionaire, and I think he was born in South Africa. Um, I'm not sure. Well, if you're in Congress and you get that Rolls-Royce Platinum insurance plan, that's an issue, Kenneth. I agree. And Kenneth was seen at the Sheila E. concert. Kenneth is everywhere. The capitalism system causes the problem, greedy policies and practices. Well, I'll tell you what I think. And Fred Allen, too many evil politicians to refuse to put the American citizens first. Well, you can talk about politicians, but you can also talk about business. There's plenty of people that refuse to put the American citizens first, and a great number of them are politicians. Fred, thank you. Um, here's the healthcare system. There's 5 layers in the healthcare system, and everybody gets paid. It's not just the hospitals and the doctors. It's big business today, right? The first thing someone, I had an issue with, I've had an issue with a foot, ongoing issue. And the first thing the doctor did, here, you go over here and see the physical therapy person. It's kind of but who's billing? Who's the one that's responsible? When I worked for the city of Trenton, there was 3 middlemen before you got to the healthcare system, right? People collect money and they take their cut. That's the problem with the healthcare system. It's not between you and your doctor, it's between you and your insurance company. And
Although I can't tell what's going on, because I like have a surgery, and it'll say it's whatever, $15,000, and insurance is only paying, a fraction of that, and I'm not paying any. So I don't know how it all works. By the way, Miss Sheila, she's corrected me and said it's Miss Sheila, not Sheila, and I apologize. No disrespect there, intended. But anyways, go ahead, Jay. You want to read some other?
Sure. Let me get my glasses.
And you know what we should do? We need to play one of the election ads one more time.
Okay, let's go ahead and do that if Teresa's ready.
Thanks.
Midterm elections influence our schools, public safety, housing, and other services families rely on every day, and that includes gas prices. While presidential elections get more attention, many decisions that affect daily life are made by leaders elected in midterms. Your vote is your voice. Voting helps ensure community concerns are heard. It holds leaders accountable and supports positive change. Make a plan to vote and encourage family, friends, and neighbors to do the same. Our community is strongest when every voice is heard. For more information on how and when to vote, call 313-876-0190 or go to detroitmi.gov/elections. When we vote, we don't just choose leaders, we choose the future of our community. Vote.
Okay, we're back. Do you want to read a couple? There's Terry. Did you read Terry McCrimmon's?
I just saw it, but I didn't get to it. Tamari Kemek, Cuba has the best healthcare system. Well, Cuba, they tried with healthcare. I know Castro tried with healthcare, tried to educate the young people, but I don't remember anybody getting on a 12-foot fishing boat in Miami and trying to get to Cuba. So what about the hundreds of thousands of Cubans that were murdered under that evil regime down there? So there's a lot of questions, right? That's how sometimes politicians suck you in. Healthcare for all, everything's going to be free. Well, it's probably free in China too, but if they don't like you, you're gone and nobody knows where you went. The campaign literature is pretty good this cycle. They're using good solid card stocks in this election cycle. Kenneth, progressive liberals don't care about Black America issues. They only care about illegal immigrants and the gay community rights. Thank you, Terry, for your comment. I think it's an interesting take. You want to comment on that, Allan?
Progressive liberals don't care about Black America. I disagree with that. I think that when we talk about generalizations, somebody mentioned that all Black people are progressives, and I don't agree with that either. But that's just my experience, and I can say as progressive liberals, I mean, I consider myself a progressive liberal, and I do care about Black America issues. I mean, I live in the city of Detroit. It's a predominantly Black city. I think people can, is it true that some don't care? Yes, but I think when we make these broad generalizations about any group of people, I think there are many exceptions to that. That's my opinion.
But I think we should talk about that, Terry. I think you bring up I think Terry brings up an interesting point, Alan. I think people are missing this point.
Sure.
And what I find fascinating about this election in Michigan in the Senate race is, I'll just say this: I'm not going to tell anybody who they should and shouldn't vote for, but I think, how can I put this? The black people in Metro Detroit are not being fooled by the games. That's my personal opinion. I see comments and I go, yeah, you may like a guy or not, or dislike a person, but I don't think the black people in Metro Detroit are falling for the bullshit. Just like in Florida, where a lot of the people that came from, let's call it more leftist countries in Central and South America, they're not falling for the bullshit either. And I think it's interesting that some of the white liberals are falling for some of the shit that the black people are seeing right through. So, and I'm not making a racial comment. I'm just saying that in South Florida, the Cubans aren't falling for that socialist bullshit, right? Or that socialist, I promise you everything. They're not, the people in El Salvador, the people that came to the United States from Nicaragua and El Salvador and some of these countries aren't falling for that. Right. And I think in Michigan, I think that's why El Sayed's in trouble, because I think some people are seeing right through that.
Yeah. Well, you could be right.
And that's just my observation. I'm not an expert. So thank you, Terry.
When we talk about race, I want to play this video, which Lester Jones was a big fan of when she was on SNL. And she talks about race, and maybe let's play this. It's humorous, but also not so humorous.
What's up? I'm Leslie Jones, and I'm here to talk about racism. Stop! Don't you click away. Put that damn remote down. Because the right-wing media, the right-wing media, is doing its damnedest to gaslight us into thinking racism is not a problem anymore.
There's no more division. There's no more bigotry. There's no more racism.
These propagated groups that talk about racism as if it was still a problem. We've moved past this.
These people who say racism doesn't exist, what's the other thing they always say?
I don't see color.
I don't see color, and that's what we're supposed to do.
White people are the only people who do not see color.
And by the way, all these people who say they never see color, guess when they can suddenly see color?
To play Hamilton, Thomas Jefferson is played by an African American. Everything is reversed.
I want you to hear this loud and clear. Santa Claus is not black. Helen of Troy is not a black woman, and you pick the blackest black woman you ever saw.
You can see colors again!
But anyways, I thought that was interesting. People have, it's interesting when people say they're totally dismissive and say race doesn't matter anymore. People don't see color. There's no racism left in America. Look, the world is tribal, and a lot of people try not to get caught in their prejudices, but there is racism, there's anti-Semitism, there's Islamophobia, there's all the whatever, and hopefully there's enough people who aren't buying into that stuff. But I think her point was that these people are kind of full of shit if they're saying everything's good now, nothing's happening. Jim, you want to?
Kenneth Reed says Al Sayed isn't a DSA candidate. He proclaims himself as a progressive candidate. Well, I agree with that. He's kind of pushed himself a little bit away from that. But if you take a look at who he's hanging out with, who he has his arms around, I think that he's probably being a little dishonest about what he stands for and who he believes in. That's my personal opinion. You're entitled to believe whatever you want.
Right. Well, he continues to push, and he says, I'm not a socialist. I'm a capitalist who understands, the capitalist system or whatever. But look, he's a smooth talker. Haley Stevens is not as slick as him, but we'll see in the end. I think people in the end, some people don't care the way Haley Stevens talks. Some people say I can't stand listening to her. Some people they're impressed with how El Said talks. Other people say he's way too slick. He's a bullshitter, whatever. And whoever I see on social media and stories that I do on the race, I put it on Deadline Detroit's Facebook page, and I see the El Said people are like very, screw Haley Stevens, blah blah blah, and then at the same time, whatever people have, who they're rooting for is how they see it. Like I say, the El Said people who watched the debate said, "Oh my God, he killed it. She was awful." And the Haley Stevens people say, "I thought you did pretty good." So,
couple more points. To Mary Kemet, I voted Syed. Bernie's endorsement is not a plus to me. Fred Allen, 8550. Thank you, Fred. Deborah Harris says Haley Stevens. Thank you, Deborah. Terry McCrimmon, Black Americans know some police see color. And I'll take that a step further. I agree with you, Terry. I don't disagree with that at all. And I was a police officer for almost 28 years. If people grow up in a family of haters, they're going to be haters, right? That's the reality of it. They grow up, their parents teach them. It's unfortunate, but it's still there. I love people, all of us. Thank you, Deborah Harris. We needed that today. White people are tribal. Start there. They created racism. To Mary Kemet, Kenneth, I like Miss Sheila. We see both of their BS in real life. Unfortunately, Miss Sheila, you're talking about 95% of the politicians out there. The city pays me enough. I'll throw on a really nice suit for the November General promo commercial. I'll sell the idea too. Kenneth Reed always looks sharp. And I already cast my vote. Thank you, Terry. I'm straight up Democrat, Deborah. If America had left Cuba alone, people would have flocked to Cuba. America destroyed Cuba. Thank you, Tamari, for your comment. The defense budget could be cut in half, and that would subsidize health care for every American while still having the #1 military in the world. Thank you, Khaldun Bay, 3968. The money's there. We talked about the money for reparations, and I believe the money's there for all these things. It's a public-private partnership. I'm not arguing that the money's not there. I'm just asking what it's going to look like. A lot of us Black Americans are libertarian liberals. Terry, I'm fascinated by the libertarians. My only problem with the libertarians is a completely open border and a couple other little issues. But you know what? If you go on the libertarian website and take their test and you don't get 6 out of 10, I'd be shocked. I think everybody should do that because I did that. I went, am I a libertarian?
Right. I'm curious that when people watch, and it's hard to, we're running out of time, but when people watch the commercials, if they impact them in any way, their votes, I mean, they never impact my vote. The commercials, I wonder half the time how many are true and whatever. I see El Said dancing to some cool music, and it's interesting. I wonder if that impacts people and says, "Wow, he's kind of a cool guy."
Do you think that's cool?
I don't know.
I'm
not impressed. I'm not impressed by any of the ads on both sides. I mean, who cares? You're not going to tell me who the candidate is in a 60-second soundbite, and you're dressing them all up in the best way. I mean, I think most people are smart enough. Whatever. Most people are smart enough to figure out without.
Sorry, I think somebody on a show that you're on earlier, I don't think you were there. You were out of town. Said people think he's gay because of his dance videos, and I don't know if he's gay. He's definitely. I'll say this. I don't want to disparage any animals, but squirrely would be my word. It's kind of a squirrely.
I think he's trying to show that he's trying to appeal to a young audience, and I don't know if that works. It may work. People may say he's cool and she's not, but like I say, all those little gimmicks, I don't look at them. I try not to allow people.
Trying too hard, Alan. You don't try too hard. Just be who you are. Let the people decide if they support what you believe in. You don't have to pretend that you're Brooks and Dunn. You don't have to pretend that you're Lady Gaga. You don't have to pretend that you're whoever.
Taylor
Just
Swift.
be yourself. That's the problem. When Mallory McMurrow talks about authenticity, she talks about it, but she thinks she's far from authentic. And
Yeah.
El Sayed is sure making an argument for for being inauthentic. As is Haley Stevens with her little rant that, I didn't think it was very impressive.
I mean,
I don't think she's got an accent. I just think she is what she is.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. You know what? When Al Gore ran against George Bush, he had all these people telling him how to dress, get khakis, and, talk like this and stuff. And it's like, you're a grown human being. If you haven't developed a personality of who you are and you've got to guess what people would like to see, then, I mean, it's one thing if, your campaign manager says you need to get out there more, but I know somebody who actually, Gretchen Whitmer, when she was running the first time, she asked this person, what do I need to do? And he said two things, and she followed up. One was, he said, lose some weight and change your wardrobe. And she did both. So I don't know what works and what doesn't. Thankfully, I'm not in politics.
Both are fake in real life, according to Miss Sheila. Just be yourself. Elect me with my flaws. We're all flawed. We all have problems. We all made mistakes in our life. Hey, I screwed up.
Right.
Elect me if you believe in what I believe in. You don't have to go out there and line dance. That's a stretch for me. So,
well, the question is, I'd be curious to talk to some younger people and see what they think about it. I mean, for you and I, we don't get the young category, and we may not be impressed, but I wonder, and maybe younger people are saying that's bullshit too. I don't know, So, but anyway, so I think we've hit we're 1 hour and 2 minutes. We apologize tonight. We're going to have to work on this platform we use. It's called StreamYard, which we've been using for years, but the last week we've had some echo issues, and we apologize. I mean, Adolph is the star of the show. We love, when he's leading it. Jim and I are just a supporting cast, and Vanessa wasn't on tonight. But anyways, we appreciate your patience, and we appreciate your participation. And the elections are coming up. It's less than today's Wednesday. Next Tuesday is the final. That's it. Truth Day, as I say. Election Day is no more speculating, no more polls, no more prognosticating or whatever. We're going to find out. Maybe that night, or at least hopefully in the next day after, we'll find out what's going on. But I'll be covering it for Deadline Detroit. I love elections. They're exciting. I mean, and it really, I find every election is important. Some people say it doesn't matter, and then like a year later, they're like, "Oh my gosh, this is so horrible." Why, So I recommend to vote. But I know some people have soured on the system, don't want to vote, but that's America. You have the choice to vote or not to vote, but so anyways, well, thanks, Jim. Thanks, Teresa, for hanging in there and trying to make things work out here. We're going to talk after the show to figure out some things, how we can make this a little better. But Deborah Harris says, go vote. Go vote. You got to live with your choice. Be wise. Janet Overall says, don't forget National Night Out Tuesday. Kenneth Reed, I remember Governor Whitmer wearing that tight leather outfit during her first State of the State address. People were talking about it. Yeah, she's she's upped her game in the fashion. Sheila says young people are more direct nowadays. Janet Overall, thank you. Tamara, great show. Peace. Thanks. And she also says Al Gore warned about global warming, and all has come true. We see the extremes of weather, all the extremes of weather. It's common sense when you see ice in the Arctic and stuff melting, and the waters are warming up. It only makes sense that the oceans get warmer, the waters get warmer, the world gets warmer ultimately, and then we have all these crazy hurricanes. I mean, it seems I watch ABC News most of the time, nightly news, and it seems like almost every night is like extreme weather stories of tornadoes and hurricanes and all that. And I think it's all part of the global warming. So anyways, thanks, Jim. We'll see people Friday evening, and then Saturday we've got a show. And thanks again, and hopefully we'll get this echo thing fixed for next time. We apologize for that. So everybody have a great night. Jim, Teresa, all the audience here, thanks for listening. We appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.